Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Ian's Adventures. Yes, I'm on my own. I'm in the same place that I came with Stephen Laidlaw on our last camp, and that was at Roach Abbey. I noticed a few bits and bobs while I was here that I've come back to both collect and look into in more depth, because obviously when you're making a video about a camp, you can't be going into too much depth on everything, because the video would take hours to go through. So I've brought a few tools. You see, when I'm in an environment like this where it's liable to see people, I don't always carry my bushcraft tools on a belt. I usually take them in a bag. Also, I might wear them on the side of my Bergen, as you might have seen on some of the camps. So yes, I'm going to walk down now to the point where we moved into the wood, where we did a bit of the compass work, and then head up over the top and take advantage of some of the natural stores which are available to us. And we'll have a chat when we get up there. Alright, so here we have the tree I was at with Stephen, Mr. PH. And a lot of these horseshoes, you see the horseshoe there, as I mentioned before, the bit we're after is inside there. Now that one could be alright, I might try and get that one off, but a lot of these are really old. So you don't want them too old. So I'm going to try and find some horseshoe fungus that we can utilise for holding a spark, and it is very effective. But there's a process behind it, and I'll explain that when I get one that I can use. Right, I'm going to show you this. This is what I noticed the other day while I was here. Birch bark. Now what happens, because the bark is a protective layer around the tree and it's full of oil, which is why it's good for getting fires started, which we'll look at in a bit, the tree itself rots out before the actual bark rots. Now there are all these little holes in here, but I can still utilise this as a way... Blimey, that bird made a strange noise. I can still utilise this to make a bowl, hopefully. If I can find a cross section to cut out, that's going to be interesting to me, something I can work with. So, upward and onward. Just have to carry that with me now, that's going to be fun. I think I might put a bit of paracord on it and just hang it around my neck. So there we go, I can safely carry that off through the woods. And if I didn't have any paracord, I could have just used some natural cordage, some root or bramble or anything else that I could find just to create that, and I can carry it through quite happily. My other bag can then go over the shoulder. Job's a good one. Off we go. Okay, so I've been travelling for a while now, and I've decided it's time to trim this down. So I'm basically going to take my paracord off. From there at least. I'll pick a point on here I want to work with. So that's interesting. So from there to there, see what it's like on the other side. I can utilise this area just here. So I'm basically going to get my knife out. Let's move that stick. So I might as well use my saw. I've got my saw here as well. So I'm going to saw a piece where I want it. Up here. Yeah. So if I can take a piece from there, I'm going to have to take it steady with this because it's so brittle. And I'll be doing the bulk of the work once I get home. So I can cut this off now, and I might even be able to take another piece as well. Okay, so I've chopped all that down, alright, and I've ended up with these two pieces. It looks like there's one, but as we know, a tree is fatter at the bottom in most cases than at the top. Bit like me really, maybe. So what I've been able to do is put one slightly inside the other, which has secured it so I could tie this piece of paracord around it and carry it home with less chance of damaging the bark. So when I get home, I'm going to start working on that. I'm going to clean all this rubbish out inside here and what have you. So I need to also find then something to go in the bottom. And if I can find a large piece of birch bark, I can actually use birch bark to go in the bottom as well. But we'll see how we go with that. So upward and onward. Okay, I've just found two just here. I'm going to have a look at this one. So I'm going to remove that one from the tree. There we go. Have a look at it. The bit that I'm after, this is alright actually, because it's not being eaten away underneath. The bit I'm after is just underneath this shell area just here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the camera up and I'll open that up and I'll explain to you what it is I'm looking for. Okay, so what I'm looking for here is inside. I'll just take my knife. Be very careful and cut down into the spores underneath and break it up into sections. And then break it away if all goes well. As we all know, things usually don't. It's a bit of struggle this. There you go. I can see what's called Amadou. Now Amadou is the browny bit on the outside round here. And it feels like a cross between cork and leather. And by stripping that out slowly, by removing the pot of spores, I start to reveal the Amadou. Now the way that I remember, because I've got a bad memory, so the way that I remember Amadou is from the old film Xanadu, We Live in Newton-John. Sounds dreadful for remembering names. So what I do is I cut that down till I start finding that Amadou, and then I'd start working on the outside to get that leathery looking material out. I'm going to do that now, and then I'll show you and I'll explain the process of what we do before we can start using it to hold an ember. So that's the inside, the brown stuff. So what I'm going to do now is remove a lot of the outer shell as well. Always remember knife safety. So there we go. I've now got the Amadou out of the fungus. Now there's another fungus up here. Let's get this one. So I'll just show you the comparison. Put my birch bark down there. There we go. There, so you can see that is the layer on the inside of there. Now that's going home with me because I can use that for future reference. And that now, I'm going to take it home. Let's knock it up so you can see me a bit better. I'm going to take that home now and I'm going to boil it. And then once it's come out of the boil, I'm going to let it cool down. Then I'm going to boil it again, and then we're going to let it dry totally. And hopefully we'll wang it with an ash. But I've got some of this stuff on very slightly, so I'll be able to show you how it holds an ember or an ash or a light, however you want to call it. There you go, that'll go in my bag with the other one. It's going well today, and what a beautiful day it is. As I'm walking along here, I've just found this old silver birch and it's just brought something to mind. Anyway, we've got a bit of birch bark. Let's go and have a bit of fun. It's a bit damp, to be honest. You shouldn't really do this with damp birch bark, but let's go and see if we can have some fun with this. Now I've got a funny feeling, you can't see me, wait a minute, let me just pop this up here. I've got a funny feeling that we're going to be able to use this, and to use this time, I'll be using my neck knife, because we don't have to go to the big knife all the time, so let's have a nosy. Now if this were perfectly dry it wouldn't be really an issue, but it's not. Trying to get all this top stuff out of the way like this. Okay. Now this green stuff I don't want. Get rid of the green stuff. Because anything damp on this situation won't allow a spark to take. And everything which is birch on the floor around here is green. Again, even though it's only a small knife, I'm still using knife safety. Let's see what we can achieve, shall we? Nothing ventured, nothing gained, and all that. See, there's a bit of green stuff in there, so my hopes aren't massively high, but I could process this down, but it'd take me a while. I want to try and get this all done in one day, if that makes sense. We're going to hit this with a ferro rod. Okay, chaps, put that away. Just take that off. Okay, so let me organise myself. Back down there. But yeah, I reckon this is going to be... now the problem with this is keeping it on there, because it's a bit of a nightmare, so I try and pin it if I can. Now I'm going to get some of this dust and just scrape it into there. There you go. Can you see that? We've got fire from a bit of birch bark. It's a method I don't always use. I try and make it a little bit more challenging for myself. But, as you can see from this demonstration, it does work. And that's because there's oil in the bark. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've just taken a sort of back bearing on the route that me and PH did, and we're back to Cramp ball tree. All these cramp balls. Now let's break some of these down and let you have a closer look. Right, ladies and gentlemen, cramp balls usually grow on ash, beech and elder trees. What's this one? I don't know. I'm learning my trees and my fungus this year, but I'm getting into my fungus now, preferably the ones not which are edible, because that's really complicated. I'm going for the ones which I can use to keep embers in. So I'm just going to break one of these off. Oops. Here you go, that's a cramp ball. Smashing. So we're going to cut through it and have a look what's inside. So what's inside a cramp ball? That one. That's probably a better one. Take that off. So I'm going to use my neck knife. Just chop through it. Here we go. So that's what's inside it. Now at the minute that's quite damp, but when you dry those out and then you hit it with an ember or a spark, it can hold the ember or the spark if you keep blowing it for a long period of time, and they come in handy for taking an ember along with you as you travel across an open area. And obviously from one cramp ball you get 2. So I'm going to collect a few of these for myself, because the last ones I collected I'm sending to Sierra Survival, Carl Dobson. So I'm just going to grab a few of these, and then that will go in his bag as well. Alright, so we've done quite a bit of strolling about. It's time to sit down and have a cup of coffee. Oh. But I've done a few miles today around this wood. It's a big wood. It's very, it's been left alone. It's very natural. Okay, so I have to take all these cramp balls and horseshoe fungus out of here now to get this out. On this occasion we're going to be using the Exi stove, the military style Exi stove, in a nice and simple manner. I've got a container of water just there. I don't want too much water in there, so I'm just going to have a drink of that. Because I've done quite a long walk and I ain't had a drink yet. That's fine. Put that over there. What I'm going to do is get my Exi stove. Oh, I forgot my little mesh. Here we are. Well, I've had to bring a little grill because I'm using this container and that'll just go straight through the middle, so it's pointless. So by having that, it'll allow me to utilise it. A lot of people have a problem trying to start these with fire still. Put fuel out of the way. But I did a video with Stephen Laidlaw just showing, and Lisa, just showing how to do this. And all you do is you crack the Exi block in half and then put it in the middle where you want your fire, and then you just grate some of that Exi block down to create a powder which puts more oxygen around the fuel. And if all goes well, I'll set myself on fire. When I hit that with spark, it should break into flame. If I can keep things steady enough and don't send it flying all over. I could use the back of my neck knife for this, but I always find this little striker comes in handy. Let's see how this goes. The one I'm probably best off doing is getting it going in here, out here, and then putting it in. Some more of that. There we go. So we've got this Exi block burning. Well, can I take this opportunity to say thank you to everybody who subscribes to the channel. I do try to share what I can, but I'm in the learning process myself. So I'll give it to you as I learn it myself. There are some things which I don't share because I think a lot of people take them for granted. But I mean, everybody's learning at different levels, so little bits get interjected at different points. 3 things I'm going to be getting into this year in a big way. Learning more wild edibles is going to be one. Learning about more fungus and mushrooms, that's the next one. I started on these last year. And also learning the trees. And you know what? One of the main problems with this is that I'm really bad for remembering names of things. I don't know why I've got a mental block. If I meet somebody initially, it takes me a certain period of time before I can actually remember the name fluently off the top of my head. So the names of trees, the names of different fungus and different wild edibles, it's the names of them. If I see them, I generally know that I can use it or can't use it, apart from the funguses. They're quite complicated and can be dangerous. Some wild edibles can, you know, like the I don't know, dandelions and stuff like that, but obviously they're not dangerous, but some wild edibles are. So, you know, I've got to get clued up with that. I'll only utilise and eat and ingest what I know I can actually eat. So I've come across mushrooms many times and thought to myself, can't I? And rather than be on the sort of edge of it, and I'd rather just not, I'll leave that until I've got a good education. Ideally, I'd love to go on a course which teaches about wild edibles and wild mushrooms and fungus. I'd absolutely love that, it'd be awesome, but I'm not in a financial situation at the moment to be able to do that. But trees, I'm just going to get some books and go out and look at the bark and look at the foliage and look how the tree grows, where it grows. Then I can start interjecting one with the other, you know, what fungus grow on what trees. I mean, I mentioned the kind of trees that the fungus grow on before, but I didn't know which tree it was. I knew it grew on one of them trees, but I didn't know which one it was. And by studying the barks and the shapes of the trees, then you're more onto a winner. That's going quite well actually already. I'm quite impressed with that. All right, guys, just a quick interjection there. I think what I like about that little system working with this is in cold weather you can make yourself a cup of coffee, and this is a stainless steel container, really high quality, and what I can do is make myself a coffee in this. Basically I could put the coffee and the sugar in the water and just boil it up on that little burner, and I can walk around with it to keep my hands warm, and I'm not sort of tied to sitting in the place till I've done with my cup and put it all away. I mean, yeah, fair enough, you could use a steel cup or a normal cup to walk woods with, but because the top of this is quite closed off, if I trip, I'm not going to end up with coffee all over my hand. That's nice coffee and all. Hazelnut coffee. Top marks. Right, so now I'm going to head down towards the Abbey. I'll get some photographs for you. Well, that's a bit tight, isn't it? I'll get some photographs for you at the Abbey and surrounding area so you can enjoy that. But yeah, a very relaxing afternoon, very productive. I've been able to get some stuff for myself, share some information with you guys, and upward and onward. That's the hill, the big rock on top of which me and PH camped. Such fun. Glory. Right, now we've walked around this beautiful location. We've been up in the woods, we've got the stuff we've got, and had our little adventure. Let's get back to the magic shed and have a look at the Amadou and the Cramp balls and see how they can hold a spark with some that I've already got prepared. So it gives you an idea. Alright, so we're back in the magic shed, and these are the 2 pieces of bark which will be cleaned up inside and scrubbed so they're acceptable. And you'll see what I wanted to do with these, I think, is because in here there's loads and loads of little holes all around them. If you can see, I've put this toilet roll inside, you'll see the toilet roll coming through the actual holes. Now, what I want to do with this is I've got to go out into the woods and get a piece of wood, cut it side on, a piece of deadfall, cut it, you know, like with the big logs, and make it fit onto the inside of their feather, and put a bottom on it, alright, and then on the top I shall make some kind of lid. Not sure what I'm going to do with the lid yet. And then probably this one's better. And then my mum, because it's my mum's birthday coming up, so I want to get something or do something a bit special for her. So I'm going to make it so that this can be filled full of potpourri. Alright, I think that's how you pronounce it. And it smells nice. So all the nice smells are going to come through all those little gaps in there. And if she wants to, then she can actually use it later as a container for keeping things in. And it's something just a little bit quirky for her. Alright, I mean something like that would probably have to have a little bit of that there put inside just to fill that gap so things didn't come out. But you can imagine, I mean, it actually fits almost perfectly. Like it'll be like that in the bottom, and then she can put a potpourri inside there, and it'll be finished off and it'll have a lid on. But that's going to be a totally different video. So I'll be putting this kind of thing in there as a prerequisite to the video continuing, if that makes any sense. So we've got that now. We've got it. It's safe. Right, so what we're looking at now, let me just put this chair out of the way for you. That's right. That's it. What I'm going to do now, these are the cramp balls that I got for Sierra Survival. So they're going to be put in the post. The last ones I put in a plastic bag and they rotted, silly me. They're off to Sierra Survival. These are the ones I collected today. So we're going to look at how they catch a spark and hold an ember. But we've also got this that we've collected today, the horseshoe fungus. And we'll see, you can see there the difference. We looked at that before. And I've got some in here which I used, I collected a while ago. I'll have a drink of coffee. And it's already dry. And also the cramp balls are in here and they're already dry. So we'll see how we can catch an ember with that. Okay, you'll have to excuse the chainsaw in the background. Somebody's chopping some trees down about 5 houses away. Right, this is the bag I use in the Adventure Bergen. Now, I don't just use natural tinder in the Adventure Bergen simply because it's not just a bushcraft setup. And I call it the Adventure Bergen because it gives me so many options to do so many things. And this is the fire starting kit that I have in there. So I've got in a totally waterproof dry sack. And what I've got in here is a little bag with some cotton buds and Vaseline. And I've also got in that bag some of this once it's been dried out. And you will be surprised how small it goes once it dries out. And that's what it looks like when it's dry. Make sure I'm showing you that right, we're in focus. So you see how dry that is. That's lovely and dry. Okay, so I'll just put that over there because we'll be using a little bit of that. I don't want to use too much of it. We'll just use, let's have a look. We'll just use that little bit there. Right, guys. I'll put that back in there as well. Because it really is good stuff for holding a spark. I'll fasten that up. And I also have in here a box of matches. It's that simple. Anything to get a fire started. Because sometimes, if you've seen my videos, you'll see I'm out in pouring rain. I take some Exy blocks. And also cramp balls. These are dry cramp balls. And a different one, that's better. I've got an actual fire lighter. I mean, if I'm absolutely stuck in the middle of nowhere, you know what I mean, just doing a wild camp, I want to make sure I've got fire. And I've also got birch bark and chippings and also filed down fat wood in here. And loads of these little fungus and stuff like that in there. So these are now going in here and they will dry out. They will all dry out in there. And I'll leave that open. In fact, I might even put them on radiator, I'm not sure yet. So all these need to go in, sorry, I do apologise. All this needs to go back in. And that's my fire starting kit. I'll just put that over there. So that there dries out and it becomes like this. So it goes like from looking like a leathery sort of stuff, cork, to looking more like dried leather, if that makes any sense. So what I'm going to do, get these off, is I'm going to hit that with a spark and I'm going to bring it in closer so you can see. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my knife and just scrape it to create a little bit of dust in there. As such. Fire steel. Pin it with the fire steel. You see that little tiny ember? See that smoking? And that's growing. Now you'll see how that's smoking and that's growing. And that's how effective it is. A tiny little spark. Alright, and that will just stay like that. It'll just keep smouldering like that for ages. Right, now I'm going to cut this cramp ball in half. Okay. I'm hoping this is going to be dry enough, because what I'm going to do, I'll transfer this over if I can. Here we go. It's gone out a bit. You see how that's working? So if I want to transfer fire from one place to another, I can simply do that. So it looks like it's gone out, smoking slightly, and you blow it, and back it comes. That's great. And the other one's almost burnt away, look. Pop that in there. Ah, there's a lot of heat in that. And that's how they work. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dry that one out. And that will give me lots of tinder bearing ability. Look at that. Only wafted it, it's burning. That's brilliant. Always remember to put your knife away, by the way. Right, so there you go. It's been like 10 minutes since. This is my next cup of tea. And that's still burning. Lucy's making me an hummus sandwich. She's very kind. And that's still going. And the thing about it, it's not burning on the outside. It's burning right down there inside. Let me show you that quickly. You see? What can you see? It's burning down there inside. So it's only just started touching the top and the other end. So as you're walking along, the wind's blowing, or there might be a bit of mist in the air or rain or whatever. It's not going in there to put it out. So if it's raining, just turn it upside down like that, and it's going to keep your ember inside. Blimey, that gets hot. Inside the cramp ball. Ow! Then when you get to where you're going, you simply pull it out and you use it, and that's going to keep smouldering away there for ages and ages. I love playing with this stuff. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed this video. We've been off into woods. We've been back to Royal Abbey just to go back over some of the stuff that we did when I was out there with Stephen, because that was a brilliant camp and we had a great time. And I saw these along the way, and I saw the cramp balls, and I wanted to go back and show that stuff in more detail, and we have done. Well, thank you very much for watching if you've got all the way through it. I do appreciate it. please remember to like, share and subscribe. The more people share these videos I'm making, the more other people get to see them. If you like them, that I know you've enjoyed it, and if you subscribe, you're going to get to see all the videos coming up on the news feed. Now also, if there's a little down there on the left hand side, on your right hand side is a little bell. If you hit the bell, then that'll just inform you when I've created new videos, and I do keep trying to update things as much as I can. Well, thank you very much for me, Ian, in the magic shed with Ian's Adventures. Bye for now.